Today's horror manga dub in narration is An Unearthly Love by Junji Ito. I'd like to take this time to give a very special thanks to the Queen of Panic for collaborating with this video. If you haven't seen her work before, you should totally check her out in the description below as well as pinned in the top comment.
In this world, some are removed from the path of the average man, possessed, unable to keep their heads above water, all the while suffering from the awareness of their sin. The fact that Kodono took me to wife, the fact that he strove to love me unconditionally, was it all nothing but the mark of that ephemeral anguish? I do wonder what twist of fate led to me marrying into the Kodono house. They were a family of some renown, so I knew his face at least. But I'd heard Kodono was rumored to be quite moody and a hater of women.
Alas, arriving at his state, Kodono was there to greet her. He escorted her in and the two of them sat next to one another while drinking tea. She couldn't help but glance over at him and blush.
Such a handsome man as this hates women. He couldn't possibly. He rather seems like he'd have a beautiful lover secreted away. They say that it is worse to worry than to act. Kodono was not so strange a man, as rumor had it. In fact, he was kinder than the average man, and he treated me rather gently.
Kyoko, my darling Kyoko. I love you. I truly do. Oh, darling, you make me so happy. Later that night, the two of them were in bed together, but Kodono was not asleep. His eyes were wide open.
You're awake? What are you thinking about?
Kyoko, I was thinking about you. I was thinking about how I cherish you.
Oh, you!
The next day, Kodono was out on the porch, staring off into the distance. That was when Kyoko happened upon him.
Darling?
But he didn't reply. It was as if he was stuck in a trance, just staring.
Darling, what's wrong? Are you listening to me?
Huh? Oh, Kyoko, it's you. I love you, dear. She couldn't help but feel something was wrong, but perhaps she was just imagining it. He said he loved her. Later that night, Kyoko, I love you. Kyoko, I love you. 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 I love you.
Darling?
But he was passed out.
What's the matter? Are you ill somehow?
I love you. I love you. I love you. She was lost for words. The whole situation was completely bizarre. But the two of them continued to sleep into the night. But then, in the middle of the night, he got up, making his way toward the door, slipping on his sandals, and walking toward the storehouse. He opened the door, went in, and slammed it behind him. But little did he know, Kyoko was tailing behind him.
He keeps sneaking into the storehouse at daybreak lately. What on earth for? It can't be. He can't have another woman.
She decided she was going to get to the bottom of this. She opened the storehouse and saw a stairwell leading toward an attic. She glanced over and wondered if she should be meddling in his business, but she had to know. She crawled up, making her way to the top until she was just below.
Why would he lock it?
We keep meeting like this. I feel bad for your wife. I feel the same myself. I keep trying to love Kyoko, but it's hopeless. It feels so terrible. There's no way I could ever make it up to her, but I find myself unable to leave you, not when you've been with me since my youth. I'm so happy to hear that I'm a lucky woman. The reality of the situation made Kyoko begin to cry. But she didn't have time for that. That was when she heard rustling and footsteps coming toward the trap door. She quickly ran away and hid, and out emerged Kodono. He slowly stepped down the stairwell, creeping his way out of the storage house and slamming the door behind him. Kyoko couldn't help but gulp. She looked back up, but no one ever came down.
Where is the woman?
So, she decided she had to check for herself. She had to know, who was her husband cheating on her with? The storage room was gargantuan, housing all kinds of amazing and valuable relics.
Where is she? I looked in every nook and cranny on the second floor, but I couldn't find so much as a hole through which a single mouse could escape. From then on, I slipped into the storehouse in the middle of the night any number of times, and the whispered intimacies of my husband and his lover filled my heart with such despair. I took all kinds of pains to try and see the woman, but I never caught so much as a glimpse.
The next day, she found him once again plopped at the same spot, staring into the distance.
Darling, perhaps some kind of living spirit had bewitched Kodono. Gloomy by nature and reminiscent of a snake, Kodono. Perhaps he was susceptible by possession by the fantastic. And then, one night, I noticed something strange. Huh? That's the sound of a lid closing and a lock being locked. I think I've heard this before too. The only things on the second floor that would make that sound like that are the chests.
The next day, Kyoko snuck into the storehouse, made her way up and searched around. That was when she seen a chest. She used the nearby key to open it. Nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary, just clothes and pots and pans. She used the key to open the section below. And that was when she came across a box. It read, "Stowed." This had caught her eye, and so she slowly opened it. And inside, she found some sort of doll. It was remarkably lifelike, its skin a flushed white. The sight caused sweat to drip down Kyoko's cheek. She turned away and shut the box.
Could such a thing as this be called a flash of inspiration? In that instant, my suspicions of the previous days were completely undone. The sheer verisimilitude of it was such that it made me gasp and shudder. What exactly was this? My husband was in love with a cold, lifeless doll?
I love you. 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 You are the only one that I truly love. I'd be a wreck without you. With Kyoko, I'm simply a wreck. I'm filled with such joy when I'm with you. Kissed the doll on the lips. And then he unclothed it. Did all kinds of devious and perverted things. I love you. I love you. I truly love you.
You beast! You disgusting animal!
The next night was like every other. The two of them sleeping in their bed. Just like usual, at the same hour, he would awake, make his way into the storehouse, up the stairwell, into the attic, into that box, waiting for his beloved doll. But that night, he found the doll completely destroyed and mangled.
How long did I sit there that night? I waited and waited, but my husband did not return. Once he saw the broken doll, there should have been nothing left for him there. So why did he not return? Perhaps his partner was not actually the doll, but instead a living human being. Strange, the trap door is open.
What she saw caused her heart to drop. Kadono had lacerations all over his body. His scarlet blood oozed over the mat. And in his hands was that wretched doll. The doll that he loved so much. But that wasn't the worst of it for Kyoko.
In my husband's arms, the doll wore an eerie smile in the throes of death. A fiendish love. An unearthly love. Those who feel such a love are numbed to their very souls by the mysterious pleasure, while they struggle with endless frustration, censored by the pangs of conscience of their boundless crime.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'd like to give a special thanks to my Patreons, Sarah DeJesus and Motosurf. I hope you enjoyed the video, and remember, you're important and you matter. Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.